So welcome our Toastmaster table topic master and also distinct Toastmaster and the master.
Thank you, Peter. First, let me say, Marie, that was a really good speech. She had emailed me the speech, and I just made some corrections, but from what she gave me to what that was like out of the park. I mean, from the raw material that I got, that was like spectacular. I'm still like, wow, that was that? Way to go, way to go. I can't wait for the evaluations to hear how you can improve that. It's like, wow, that's really good. Table topics, think on your feet. I want to make sure Lisa gets in her practice. Now, remember at the contest, it's going to be a short question. It could be something as, tell us about your favorite color, tell us how the weather is. It's going to be a short question because they'll need to repeat it. They'll repeat your name and they'll repeat the question. Remember, you want to say something like the repeat of the question. My favorite color, fellow Toastmasters, right? So probably repeat the question, massage it a little bit, and then give your answer. It gives you a little time to think and quickly come up with some answer. You want a strong, open body and conclusion. That's kind of all they're looking for. Again, try to hit the green flag. So before I call Lisa up, I want to see who would be willing to give the first go around for table topics. We haven't had table topics like this in a while, so, and I'll shorten the question. So before Lisa comes up, who else would like to take the challenge? All right, Bernie. Yes.
I thought that was later. Okay. Do you know okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you can pick it up after I give the question. Make mistakes, take chances, be silly, be imperfect. Trust yourself and follow your heart. Which one of those would call out to you, especially in Toastmasters? So let me repeat the question. Make mistakes, take chances, be silly, be imperfect. Trust yourself and follow your heart. Bernie.
Thank you. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guest. Well, I would take trust yourself. Trust yourself. I like that because I believe that you're responsible for 100% of everything that happened to you. Everything. You're 100% responsible. You cannot blame the government or the weather or anything. You have to be aware that everything that happened in your life is because of you. No one else. No one else to blame. I believe that I will say that trust yourself is the one I will get as your friend Andy. That's it. Thank you. I forget always that, right?
Yes.
I have to work.
Do I have another volunteer? Mohideen? Sipping that water? I know you just love table topics. If you want to know where your heart is, look to where your mind goes when it wanders. If you want to know where your heart is, look to where your mind goes when it wanders. Mohideen.
So fellow Toastmasters, so always follow your mind because so your heart may sometimes deviate you. It's always your mind because your mind makes good decisions. Heart may be sometimes emotional. It may not take you to the right direction, but always think and follow your mind when you have to make some decision. So you can make, if you follow your mind on it, you can make good decisions and try to follow up on those decisions. If you make, don't back up from those decisions. make solid, make the decision and stick to that decision and follow your mind, not the heart always. Thank you, Toastmasters.
So those were two of our newer members. As you would see, friends and the seasoned members, they would answer the question, and Alfonso would probably take two stories with it. You want to bring in something personal. So as you answer the question, when was that an example for you in your life? So you might say, let me give you an example. When I first joined Toastmasters, that was not my heart. That was something else. My logical mind said I needed to prepare some presentations, and you go on with that story. So I would suggest both of you to answer the question if you like. You don't have to answer the question. That is another different technique you might want to consider. Said, Mr. Table Topics Master, that is a difficult question. Let me tell you another story. And you spin off a story, right? So remember, it's just to make you think on your feet. Yes, you don't have to answer direct the question. So if it's something you feel queasy about, just tell the story, right? Let me tell you another story, and then go with that. The whole thing is to think on your feet. Are you able to think and not get flustered and just say, I don't know, that's a good idea, so what should we do now, and put all those filler words, and that's all that nervousness. So you can answer the question directly, indirectly answer it, or not answer it at all. But it's just practice. So, Lisa? Following your heart has many challenges. Tell us a time when you followed your heart when it resulted in a challenge. Following your heart has many challenges. Tell us a time when that was a challenge. Lisa.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I cannot recall a time when I followed my heart and there were many challenges. Okay. Yes, I can, and there have been many times when I followed my heart and there were many challenges. But I want to tell you about when I followed my heart and there were not a lot of challenges. A lot of challenges tend to take you away from the focus. And so I want to tell you the story about when I followed my heart and there were not very many challenges. It is a story of love. Once upon a time, I was married. I got married after knowing the person for 3 months. And we actually lasted for 8 years. And I followed my heart knowing, with a great knowing. I believe in a lot of metaphysical beliefs. And so I believe your heart speaks much louder than words ever will. And when I met my past partner, I completely followed my heart without any challenges, at least for 8 years. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Now that was a great sample, right? So she kind of massaged the question a little bit and not answered, and answered in the kind of negative way, but spun it around so that she can tell her own story. So again, use that table topics to spin your own. Make sure you hit that green flag, right? You're aiming for the green flag. For speech contestants, you want to be aiming for the yellowish flag, because the more content you give them to judge you, it's a little bit better. You're spot on with your speech. I think you hit the yellow, maybe the red flag, but good way to go. Do we have another volunteer coming down to our last volunteers there? I have two more questions. We'll always have a replacement for the timer. All right, Gilbert. You know you made the right decision when there is peace in your heart. You know you made the right decision when there is peace in your heart. Gilbert.
Hi everybody. I know I made the right decision once I saw my kid's face when he was born, and I saw his little eyes just looking back at me, that's when I knew that I made the right decision to keep him close to me and have him, you could say. And I have not regretted that opportunity I had to be in his life and be able to see him grow and become whatever he will become. The only thing I have is to support him as much as possible as I can and try to see and move forward, like my speech I had. And that's what's motivating me every now and then. Every single time I see him, hug him, and kiss him, I know that I have to be better. I have to push myself more and have no regrets to making him grow and push him forward. And that's it. Thank you.
Got to work on those parliamentarians. One last one. Do we have time?
Yeah. Doesn't have a big speaking role.
I don't have one. I have a speaking role, small one.
Robert, if you want, oh, I've read that one already. Follow your heart, because if you always act on logic, and logic doesn't always lead to happiness. Follow your heart, because if you always act on logic, and logic doesn't always lead to happiness. Robert.
Follow your heart and not logic, because logic doesn't always lead to happiness. That is a true statement, I am sure, and my mind at this point in time cannot come up with an example. There are times, however, when the opposite is also true, where you follow your heart and you do not include logic in this, and you can make a mistake in the other direction. This is terrible. I used logic to come up here. So let me just explain what happened. I've not been in Spokesman's Club, Toastmasters Club for quite a number of weeks. I have had some job responsibilities. I thought, well, I'm tired. I don't even want to volunteer for topics, but hey, logic tells me to be decisive, get up there and do something. So I thought, well, okay, I don't have a logic speaking assignment. I will raise my hand. And in the past, it has not failed. I have always come up with an example, usually on the spot, but it always comes up. Today, it just blanked out, and I had to say, well, at least I can talk about this example, so I will do that. It was a logical decision, and I guess it eventually worked out, but I tell you what, it was very, very difficult, and you always sometimes have to take your heart into account when you do logical decisions. And I would also submit, though, that the opposite is true. Sometimes your heart can lead you in the wrong direction, and logic has to be involved, otherwise you can make some pretty silly mistakes. Back to you.
See, that example was perfect. You could see he was struggling and it blanked out a little bit, but he stayed until he hit the green flag. And that's the whole purpose, to see if you can keep going until you hit that green flag, right? That's the whole purpose. So can you stand up here? Can you be that one on the spot and at least go to that green flag, right? That's why we have those timing lights. At this time, thank you for having me as your Table Topics Master. Let me turn control back over to our Toastmaster, Peter.
Thank you.